well guys, how's it going? So, it's 7 o'clock, 7:07, if you really want to be picky about it. In the PM, it's getting cooler out. We're actually going to have a little bit of a cold front coming through for the next couple of days, which is going to be alright-ish, I guess. But then it's going to start getting back up to the 70s and 80s again. I don't mind the 70s and 80s. I just wouldn't, look, CB chatter. Shut up. Well, yeah, what the hell was I saying now? Yeah, it's just the weather. So, as long as the humidity would stay the frick down, it would be fantastic out. And we had a pretty smoky weekend there and whatever else. So, it was a couple of deer. But, yeah, it just, it is what it is, I guess. So, but, so a little bit of, well, that's probably news you guys don't really give a shit about, but I guess I just make you guys watch my boring shit anyway. But, I would say the building is, the new parts building is officially cleaned out. I don't think it's ever going to be 100% perfect, but it's acceptable for this year anyway. I guess my uncle had a story about that building, which I didn't know, so it's nice that he actually opens his big mouth for once and actually tells me stuff. I thought that my great-grandparents owned that building, you know, like since they started farming, or it was on the farm when they bought it. Apparently not. They bought it off of another guy who didn't want it anymore, and it did have power in it, but apparently when the great-grandparents had it, they never had power in it. They never used it for that. So it has wiring in it for lights and stuff, one on the outside for like where the door is at, and then one inside. But you can tell that the wiring is definitely, like, it's not today's wiring, that's for sure. Probably back when electricity was just starting to become a thing. So, but yeah, so I guess apparently when the building was put on the farm, the great-grandparents used it. I guess we're gonna roll away. They stored grain in it, and I guess which would kind of make sense to why they were always patching holes and whatnot in it with like license plates and stuff. Hey, if it works, it works. So it's all that matters. But I think that they probably had chop in there at one time. They were making chop or mixed grain or whatever, and they would put it in there. I guess how much they must have filled that building quite a bit, but the window, there's only one window on that thing, which is kind of funny. I think there'd be at least one more in there, but whatever, a window's a window, plus the door. They boarded up half of the window, and I was kind of wondering, like, why did they do this? Like, what's the purpose of that? And then my uncle was like, well, I was asking him that. I was like, well, did they put that there maybe so people wouldn't fall out of the window or something stupid like that? And he said, no, they used to put grain in here. So, got kind of even more interesting, I guess, you know, to know a little bit more about the history on that building, I guess. It's probably literally the only building that's any good yet still on the farm. It needs a little bit of help. It needs a paint job. It's probably going to get one, probably next year. I'm going to try. At least do the front. That's what's going to take the brunt of the sun. So, that'll be an extra problem. I'm not going to worry about it this year. But, it is what it is, I guess, at this point. So, but, I told my uncle, I was like, well, I'm taking those boards off because I want more sunlight. I need more sunlight in here. And, well, the boards weren't really on there all that good anyway. They were on there pretty loose, but I guess it was enough to keep the grain from, you know, blowing out the window. But when I wasn't really paying much attention, I guess I really should have, but when I took the boards off the window, I started studying the window, and I'm like, can this thing open? Sure as shit, you can open it. I was like, well, shit. You know, because I was like, I could have used this back when I was cleaning out the freaking building. Like, I could have had a decent airflow going through it on the really hot days when I was actually cleaning it out. You know, like once I got up to the window, I should have pulled the boards off right away. And, freaking mosquitoes. And opened the window. So, can't tell you when that window was ever last open. Probably never in the history of the great-grandparents owning it. Because they obviously used it for grain, so why would you open the window? But yeah, if you have that window open and the door open, you actually, I mean, because again, it depends on which way the wind's blowing, but if it's blowing from the west, you'll get a pretty good breeze going through the whole window and going out the door. Or if it's coming from the east, it'll work its way in through the door and out the window. So, but I also kind of wondered, you know, I also couldn't figure it out why on, like, well, use this as the wall, like there's a wall here, right? Well, at the very top there was a square hole cut out, and I'm like, well, usually when they do that kind of a hole setup and you can put it back on, that's usually a sign that you can stick a auger in there. Well, now I know why there's a hole in the wall, because they would put their auger through it and transfer their mixed grain or what, you know, chop, whatever they would make back in the day. That's what they would do. And I didn't get any video of it, but if you guys kind of look out the window, I actually did take a video of it, just so you guys kind of know what the inside looks like. So you guys kind of get it. It's not that big of a building, but it's going to, I think, be enough for what I'm planning to do with it. I'm most likely never going to put grain back in it again. If we do, I'm probably just going to get the proper grain bins. Like, not a huge thing, obviously, but, you know, a couple hundred bushel, I suppose, grain bin. Or like a gravity-fed one, whatever. We have a grain bin next to that building. That's what you see when you look out the door. Not the window, but the door. You see another white building. That's actually the old grain bin. It was made out of wood. It was square and everything. That's how they made them back in the day before they switched over to this round aluminum stuff. So that's what you see today, obviously. But yeah, it works pretty good until it starts to rust out. But that building, that grain bin, that's why I still call it, it's a grain bin. It will come down one day. It's not, the building's no longer even sitting on the blocks like it used to. It slid off the blocks, so it's just sitting on the ground. The back end's all, just in this past year alone, it's all blown out. It's all cracked now. So, and there is stuff in there, so we're going to have to take that stuff out. And hopefully I can get a shed put up, like a plastic shed or something. I got to put two up anyway. One was going to be for my stuff, and then, well, both of them are going to be for my stuff, but I might have to put some of that stuff in there too. But in that building, there is a, I guess it would be their grinder or mixer or whatever. I don't know what the hell it is. It looks like some kind of a mixer, grinder thingy, whatever. But it has a gas engine on it. So you think it would be maybe belt driven or something, but I don't know, it's not. So from what I can tell, it's not. But I think what they used to do, and this is where it kind of gets interesting, this is where I like to let my brain just wander, trying to make sense of what the great grandparents did back in the day. I think what they did is they would obviously harvest their crops, and then they would only, I guess, grow one, so it'd probably be like wheat or oats, and then they'd probably go to the elevator and get some other kind of grain and stuff, whatever they wanted. I don't know. and then they would put it into the grain bin, because there was 3 compartments. We did use the first one up to about 20 years ago. 20 years ago, then we didn't really do that anymore. So we filled that thing right up to the brim, and that was mostly our own grain. I mean, yeah, the old timer would plant it, but he would kind of give us a lot of that. And it did last us, I think, most of the winter. I mean, yeah, we would run out by then, but I think that's just because we were overfeeding it. But whatever, it doesn't really matter. And then, yeah, so I think what they would do then is, like, they'd probably put, I suppose, like, oats in one, maybe wheat in the other, and then maybe the other one was soybeans. I don't know, And then what they did is they would unload it from the truck, which would be the L130. Used to haul grain. It is a grain truck. And then they would load it into that building, and then they would drag out that mixer or grinder, whatever the hell it is. Then they would mix it or grind it together, whatever. And then they would put it into the building that I just cleaned out, which is now going to be my parts building. But if you look out the window, it's hard to see it now because actually the tree did grow through it, but I think you could still save it. It would just be a lot of work. That is a auger, but it's not a grain. It's not like a round auger, not like today's augers. This is like the square wooden ones that were back in the day, and I think that's what they used, and they did, and they used it quite a bit. But then, unfortunately, they just obviously, then they retired, and then it sat. So if I'm going to bring that auger back to life, I kind of doubt it. If I do, it's probably just going to be just enough to make it look pretty, and then it's probably just going to like sit in the yard or something for like looks. If it's actually ever going to see grain again, I doubt it, because I can go buy a brand new round auger for a couple grand and it'll be fine. So hell, I could buy the old timer's auger, because he would always bring his auger down to fill up our grain bin, and his was pretty old and it still did the job, and it was gas powered. It had its own engine on it, so like I could go buy that thing and just basically do what the great grandparents did, except I don't know. I'm not sure how this auger was powered. It looks like it has a belt pulley on it. Or not like a belt pulley. Not like what's on the back of the Farmall. Not like those big giant belts. I'm talking like a thin black belt, But I don't know what would have powered that. I don't know if they had a small engine that was just set it up for that, or if somehow they ran it off the little A, or I don't know. That part I don't know. You wouldn't know unless you pulled it out and just kind of tried to make sense of it all. Like in order to get a clear picture of that, it's got to be out of the weeds, and can't have a tree growing through it, and you just got to study it. So, but I don't know. I thought it was kind of an interesting story to have it, that it was possibly once like a storage grain bin kind of thing. I think that's where they kept their chop, probably, or mixed grain, or whatever the hell they were making back in the day. And then yeah, but then now it's going to be my parts building, and I think if we really had to, we could fix it up a little bit, and if we really wanted to, we could store grain in it again if we really had to. But it's going to be my parts building, so I would have to have another building built, and then there you go. So, which may happen, at some point. It's just not going to be anytime soon. I mean, we're probably talking 10 years down the road, who knows, but maybe even longer. Who knows? Or it just may never happen. But yeah, we could use a couple of new buildings. We definitely could use a new barn. And then wouldn't mind building a new building for the little A. Exactly a twin to this. Except it's not going to be up on blocks. It'll just be flat on the ground with gravel or sand, whatever. And there won't be no ramp, you know, or nothing like that. It'll just be flat on the ground. But the height will be there, the width and everything. It'll look exactly the same. It'll have the swing outdoors like it always had. Because I kind of want to keep somewhat of it, of the original design there. So, but I don't know. Other than that, it was kind of just is what it is, I guess, at this point. So, but I think the building is good enough now that I can just leave it alone. I don't have to sweep it anymore. I think I could just keep sweeping and sweeping and sweeping, and I'm always just going to keep pulling something up. So, I think I'll just call it good enough now. And then you didn't see it in the video. I videotaped it before, but I did put my stuff back in there. Or maybe I did videotape. Did I videotape it? Yeah, maybe I did. I don't remember now. But yeah, I put my stuff back in there. That's the stuff we're going to keep. And whatever else. And then if we use it, we use it. If we don't, well, then it'll either just sit there, or we'll put it in a different building when I get it, like another shed put up or something. We'll put it in there. Whatever else. So, but other than that, the building project, I think, is done for this year. I can finally move on to other stuff now. Tried to call the young guy yesterday. He didn't pick up. He never did ever call me back. I don't know. It's touch and go with him. I imagine he's still busy punching out bales. I think he needs at least 2,000 a year. Well, I mean, every year that's probably going to go up because he has more cattle. So, but I'm just going to try to get a hold of him because I got to know what's going on, because I want to start bringing these bales in. And I want to know if I'm doing it, or if he's going to bring me a tractor, you know. Personally, I don't know why he just didn't bring the 1566 down. I know it's not the greatest tractor in the world. He did say that the hydraulics were slower than snot on it. But who cares? A 1566 is the same tractor as my 1586, just an older version. I don't need the horsepower. The weight is there. That's really what all that matters is the weight. And, well, it's got a loader on it. It doesn't have a 3-point. It only has the loader. So again, I'd be learning something new, how to run a loader. But I don't know. I mean, at this point, I would feel more comfortable doing it with the 1566 than the 400. Even my grandma doesn't really want my uncle going out here with the 400 and grabbing these bales, because these are heavy bales. These bales they seem to be getting heavier every year. These could be pushing almost 1,900 pounds, because there's a lot of material in these bales this year, and there's obviously a lot more hay this year. You know, and if we get 70, 75 bales, that tractor technically has to handle them twice. Once to put them into the yard, and then again to put them out for feeding, because that'll be later on, kind of like, but it's still a lot of stress for it, and that tractor's not getting any younger. So I gotta try to get a hold of the young guy. I gotta know what's going on. I figured he wasn't going to give me like the 986 or anything, because that's probably still hooked to the baler. The 4240, that's probably still hooked to the mower. Well, the 1086 is broken. He won't fix it. So if he would have had the 1086 going, but I could have been using that to move bales, or he could have put that on the baler and gave me the 986. You know, the Magnum, That's probably hooked up to his combine right now. He did buy not a brand new combine, what the hell am I saying? He bought another pull type. His first pull type, he still has it. It's a International 914 pull type. I think I got a video on my channel way back in the day, but it wasn't that great of a video. But, and then I guess he bought a new one. Again, not a new one, but a newer one, a little bit bigger. What is that? It's not a 1682, I don't think. Okay, well, it's whatever the bigger pull type combines were at the time. It's bigger than these 914s. But he bought a bigger one of those because he says the 914 can't handle it, and he doesn't want to wear it out. He wants to kind of save on it because they are getting hard to find, and he just wants to save on it. It's kind of like his baby, so he's trying to save on it. But I don't know. So most likely the Magnum's hooked up to that. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, like I said, the only thing that's probably not doing anything is the 1566. Well, bring it down here. I'll put some hours on that thing. So, because I kind of like to get going with this now. We're already like a month behind. I kind of knew that anyway going into this because obviously my tractor's broken. And I don't know when we're going to get that fixed. It ain't going to be this winter, I don't think. I don't know what the young guy wants to do with it. I don't have parts anyway, but if the young guy wants to do it, then I could at least be ordering the parts over winter and stocking them up, and then whenever, you know, we could be, then we'll go to beat hell on it and get it in the shop. It's going to have to go in his shop because we don't have a shop we don't even have a shop, period. We just make any part of the yard our shop, but we need a shop with a concrete floor. And that's the one thing our farm is missing, is a shop with a concrete floor. Hell, I think even if we just had a massive chunk of concrete, like a slab made, like that was big enough to handle my tractor, that would be acceptable too, because at least you could still split it and it would be good. Or do what you gotta do. Hell, even if you had to split the son of a bitch, you could still do it at our place. Yeah, you'd be exposing everything to the weather, but I guess you just have to, you know, throw a freaking tarp on it or something. I don't know. So, but yeah. So, I'm going to try to call him again here. I got to do it on top of the dike. That's my best chance of getting a signal, besides being at home. And, I got to know what the hell's going on. Like, is he going to bring me a tractor, or are we doing with the 400? We don't, like I said, even my grandma doesn't want to do it. But, I mean, if it's going to be a while yet before we get a tractor, well, then I guess if he's talking about doing it, then I would understand. Like, I wouldn't have to be stressing about it, because I know he's got a plan, but I don't know his plans, and I got to know this now. So, but yeah, so. Anyways, guys, I'm going to take off. So I guess have a good day and stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Take her easy.